Welcome back to The Deep Dive. Our mission today, well, it's all about personal organization. We're aiming to move past those glossy quick tips you see everywhere.
Right, cutting through the myths.
Exactly. And build some robust, systematic frameworks that actually stick. We're leaning heavily on expert insights here, focusing on behavior and process management to guide us.
Because let's face it, the struggle is real.
It really is. We're all feeling it, aren't we? This pressure to be constantly online, do more with less, navigate just this flood of information every single day. Organization is not really a nice to have anymore, is it? It feels essential just to manage your time, your tech, your focus.
And if you do manage it, the payoff is significant. We're talking about less crisis management, genuinely.
Less scrambling.
Less scrambling, more focus on what actually matters, feeling less stressed out, and, freeing up time for other parts of life. Family, hobbies, whatever it is.
Well, that promise, avoiding burnout, getting that sense of success that's really appealing. But, okay, before we get into calendars and apps, you insist the real work starts inside.
It has to, yeah. Permanent change, real organizational change, it starts in your head, not with software.
Okay.
You need to know your strengths, your weaknesses, and really, really figure out the why. Why do you even want this change?
Right. So let's tackle those mental barriers first. The big one we always hear, the born organized myth. I'm just not wired that way. I'm right-brained.
That old chestnut. Well, recent neuroscience kind of throws that whole right-left brain classification out the window, actually.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah. Look, some people might need to put in more conscious effort initially. That's true. But the skills, they're absolutely learnable. Believing you just can't do it, that's just self-defeating. You have to ditch that idea.
Okay. Barrier one busted. What about the second classic stall tactic? I'm too busy to get organized. I'll do it next month when things calm down.
The deferral trap. That's basically guaranteeing disappointment, isn't it?
It feels like it.
Waiting for that perfect calm moment. It never comes. And you've got to distinguish between being busy and being productive. They are not the same thing.
You can run around all day.
Exactly. 10 hours feeling frantic, achieving nothing of real value. Action now is what gets results. Waiting just doesn't work.
So if action starts now, it needs a target. What does that why look like, practically speaking? How do you pin it down?
You just ask yourself simply, why do I want this? If the surface answer is, say, to finish more work during the week, dig deeper.
Okay.
What's the real outcome you want from finishing more work? Maybe it's taking less work home. Maybe it's having evenings free for your partner or starting that language class you've been thinking about. That's the why.
The tangible benefit.
Precisely. Once you nail that, then you apply a framework like SMART. Make the goal clear, measurable, achievable, results-oriented, and time-bound.
Let's take a big example. Like someone wants to cut their work week from, say, 55 hours down to 40. It sounds great, but it's a catch, right? It's not instant.
Oh, absolutely crucial point. Goals like that often require more time investment up front.
Right. You have to set things up.
Exactly. You need to delegate, train people, build new systems maybe. That takes time. The savings, the 40-hour week, that only kicks in after you've made that initial organizational effort.
And you have to actively block time for other life areas too, don't you? Or work just expands.
It always will. Work, family, health, hobbies. You need to schedule it all consciously. Otherwise, the urgent stuff just eats everything else.
Okay, that leads us nicely into time allocation. Time, it's the great equalizer, right? We all get the same 24 hours.
We do. The difference is purely how effectively you choose to spend it.
So how do we figure out where it's actually going? Because I suspect most of us aren't truly aware.
You probably are. You need brutal honesty. We recommend tracking your time for just, say, 3 to 5 days. Use a simple chart, task, time spent, and then an evaluation or category.
And log everything.
Everything. That 30-second social media check, log it. The 5-minute chat by the water cooler, log it. Be honest. The raw data is often, revealing, sometimes shockingly so.
I can imagine. Okay, once we have that possibly uncomfortable data, what's the strategy? We know the 80-20 rule suggests focusing effort, but how do we structure the schedule itself? Is this where the Eisenhower matrix comes in?
Exactly, or the Covey matrix, same idea. It forces you to categorize tasks by importance and urgency. The core principle, which Eisenhower supposedly said, is what is important is seldom urgent, and what is urgent is seldom important.
Okay.
So category 1 is important and urgent. Crises, deadlines, we tend to deal with those because we have to.
Right, the fires.
The fires. But the real key and the danger zone is category 2. Important, but not urgent.
That's the long-term stuff.
Yeah.
Planning, skill building, relationship building, prevention.
Precisely, the things that build future success. But because they don't have an immediate deadline screaming at you, they get pushed aside.
Until they become crises.
Exactly. If you ignore Category 2, you are basically scheduling future Category 1 emergencies. You must proactively schedule time for these.
And then there's the infamous Category 3.
Ah, yes. Unimportant but urgent. The biggest productivity killer.
The constant pings, the notifications, the colleague needing just 5 minutes for something that doesn't align with your goals.
Yep. They feel urgent, they demand attention, they interrupt your flow, but they don't actually move you forward on what matters. They give you that false sense of being busy, though.
That's the trap. You feel like you're doing stuff.
You do. Your time log will show you just how much of your day gets eaten by Category 3. You have to actively protect your Category 2 time from it.
So the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, reinforces this focus.
It does. It's that constant reminder. Roughly 80% of your valuable results will come from about 20% of your efforts. So doesn't it make sense to focus your prime time on that 20%, the important tasks?
It does. Okay, so if we're focusing on the important stuff, we need different planning views, right? Not just a daily to-do list.
Yeah, definitely. Effective planning really needs 3 horizons. You need a longer view, maybe roughly 3 months for those bigger projects.
Strategic goals.
Right. Then you need a weekly review. Check progress, adjust priorities based on what's come in, make sure deadlines are on track.
Okay.
And then you have the daily list. But here's the key. Plan tomorrow's list before you finish work today.
Ah, so you hit the ground running.
Exactly. You start the morning focus, knowing your priorities, balancing the immediate stuff with that longer-term Category 2 work.
Right. Let's dive into the big enemy of all this planning. Procrastination.
Yeah.
It's not just laziness, is it? There's deeper psychology at play.
Oh, much deeper. It's really complex. One major driver, surprisingly often, is actually fear of failure.
How does that work?
Well, if you're afraid you might fail at something important, you might unconsciously set the goal so high it's almost impossible to reach.
So you have a built-in excuse.
Precisely. If you fall short, you can say, well, the goal was unrealistic anyway. It deflects the feeling of personal failure. It's a self-protection mechanism.
Wow, okay. That's a big insight for a lot of people, I bet. What else drives it?
A close cousin is perfectionism, which sounds like a good thing, but it can be paralyzing.
How so?
The perfectionist might delay starting a task until the absolute last minute. The paradoxical reason. If the result ends up being just mediocre, they can say,
Well, I could have done better if I'd had more time.
exactly, I just didn't start early enough. Again, it protects their self-image of being capable, even if the output isn't great.
Okay, so recognizing these patterns is the first step. What are some practical ways to actually counter procrastination when it hits? Starting is often the hardest part.
It really is. One tactic we like is the reverse list. Put the tasks you like least, the ones you're dreading, right at the top.
Do the worst first.
Do the worst first. Tackle them head on. The momentum you gain from getting those over with makes the rest of the list, especially the tasks you enjoy, feel much easier. Almost like a reward.
That makes sense. Any other tips for just getting started?
Yeah, don't wait for a huge, uninterrupted block of time to appear. That's often another form of procrastination. Use small, focused bursts.
Like the Pomodoro technique? Kind of.
Sort of, yeah. Even just 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Commit to working on the task for just that short period. Often just starting breaks the mental barrier, and you find you can keep going. Aim for that state of flow, harnessing momentum.
Speaking of momentum killers, let's talk about distraction. It feels like it's never been easier to get distracted. Phones, emails, notifications.
It's constant, isn't it? The always-on, multi-device culture. And the cost is, well, it's huge. Way bigger than most people realize.
How big are we talking? Is there actual data on this?
There is. Research from places like Microsoft and the University of Illinois has looked into this. After even a simple interruption, like glancing at an email notification,
Yeah.
it takes an average of about 15 minutes to get back to the same level of deep, productive focus you had before.
15 minutes just from one email chat.
15 minutes. Think about how many times that happens in a typical day.
Wow. Okay. That's sobering. So that 5-second glance costs a quarter of an hour of real concentration. No wonder we feel fragmented.
It leads to what some researchers call continuous partial attention syndrome. You're sort of skimming the surface of many things, but rarely diving deep. It's the absolute enemy of that crucial Category 2 work.
So how do we fight back? How do we limit these interruptions?
You have to be assertive about it. First, schedule uninterruptible time in your calendar. And treat it like an important meeting. Communicate it to your colleagues.
Let them know you're off limits.
Yeah. Between 10 and noon, I'm focusing on Project X. Please only interrupt if it's a genuine emergency. People learn to respect those boundaries if you enforce them consistently.
Okay, what about managing the incoming flood? Emails, messages. The urge to respond immediately is strong.
You have to break that habit. Stop being reactive. Schedule specific blocks for processing communications, maybe 2 or 3 times a day. That's it.
Instead of checking constantly.
Right. If you check email every 7 minutes, you're basically letting Category 3 dictate your entire day. Batch process. Also, group similar small tasks together. Make all your quick calls at once. Send all your short update messages at once. Reduces that constant mental gear shifting.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense for managing time and focus. Let's shift gears now to managing, well, stuff. Information overload. Physical paper, digital files. We need a system here too, right?
Absolutely. Without a system, information just piles up, digitally or physically. For any new piece of information or document that comes your way, you need to make an immediate decision using the 5Ds rule.
The 5Ds. Okay, what are they?
1, discard it. If it's low value, get rid of it immediately. Be ruthless.
Easier said than done sometimes.
It is. We'll come back to that. 2, deal with it. If you can action it in, say, 2 minutes or less, just do it right then and there.
The 2-minute rule. Got it.
3, delegate it. If someone else should handle it, pass it on with clear instructions. 4, put it in a dossier or file. If it genuinely needs to be kept for reference, file it immediately in your system.
And number 5?
Date it. If it requires action later, assign a specific future date for follow-up. Use a tickler file, a calendar reminder, a digital flag, whatever works for you, but give it a date.
Okay, of those 5, which D do people struggle with most? I'm guessing discard.
You guessed right. Discarding is the hardest. We have this built-in what if I need it later, fear, FOMO, but for information.
So what's the advice?
Honestly, if you're genuinely unsure whether you'll need it again, you probably won't. Toss it. The cost of keeping, managing, and later searching for low-value information almost always outweighs the tiny chance you might regret discarding it. Most info has a very short shelf life.
That's a good mindset shift. Does that apply to reading too? So much to read, so little time, and many of us read quite slowly.
It does. And yes, slow reading is a huge bottleneck. Often, it's caused by subvocalization.
Mentally saying the words in your head.
Exactly. That basically limits your reading speed to your speaking speed, maybe 150, 200 words per minute, which is fine for complex material, but way too slow for scanning or getting the gist.
So how do we speed up without losing comprehension?
First, match your speed to the material. Don't read a light report like it's a dense legal contract. Second, sim strategically first. Look at the table of contents, the introduction, the conclusion, or summary. Understand the main argument before you dive into the details. That gives you context.
Okay, practical tips. Now let's talk physical space. The messy desk. We know clutter causes stress, but is there a tangible cost, like in lost time?
Oh, absolutely. The cost can be pretty shocking when you quantify it. Some studies suggest that highly disorganized people can spend around 15 minutes a day on average just looking for misplaced things, pens, files, notes.
15 minutes a day, that adds up.
It really does. Over a year, that's roughly equivalent to half a working week completely wasted, just searching for stuff.
Half a week, just because of clutter.
Okay.
That's a motivator. What are the quick tactical fixes for paper piles?
Rule 1. Your desk is a workspace, not a filing cabinet. Don't let things accumulate there long term.
Get things off the surface.
Yes. Implement a simple 3-tray system for incoming paper, 1 tray for to-do stuff needing immediate action, 1 for pending things you're waiting on someone else for, and 1 for to-file documents that need to go into your archive system.
So every piece of paper has a destination.
It forces a decision, prevents pile-up, and make a 5-minute desk clear-out part of your end-of-day routine. Make it a non-negotiable habit.
All right, final area, the archive. Filing.
Yeah.
Digital or physical. You mentioned that what if I need it? Fear. Why do we keep so much? Especially knowing that statistic, I said 85%?
Yeah, studies consistently show around 85% of documents that get filed are never looked at again. Never.
So why hoard?
It's that cautious just-in-case mentality. We default to keeping things. The shift needs to be towards an assertive approach to filing. Meaning, before you file anything, ask yourself, what specific future purpose will this serve? Be honest. If the answer is vague or unlikely, discard it. Don't file defensively, file purposefully.
Okay. And for digital files, any quick tip that works across different platforms or cloud services?
Keep file naming simple and consistent. And one really effective trick, Always include the date at the beginning of the file name, using the YYYYMMDD format.
Like 22.5.1103.
Exactly. 22.5.10103 Project Alpha Report. Why? Because it ensures your files automatically sort chronologically, regardless of the operating system or software you're using. Makes finding things by date much, much easier, even years later.
That's a great practical tip.
Okay.
So wrapping this deep dive up, it feels clear that real organization isn't about finding the perfect app. It's a whole system overhaul.
It really is.
We've got to shift that internal attitude, get past the excuses, embrace proper planning like with the Covey matrix, and really internalize the huge costs of distraction and clutter.
And remember that permanent change takes consistency. There are no shortcuts, unfortunately. It's about building those positive habits, reinforcing them day by day. But the reward taking back real control is worth it.
Absolutely. And as we close, here's something for you, the listener, to think about. We often regret the things we didn't do more than the things we did. So since getting organized is fundamentally about swapping bad habits for good ones, what's one single negative work habit you have? Maybe it's mindless scrolling when you feel stressed. Maybe it's putting off one specific type of decision. Identify just one. Now, what specific pre-planned positive routine could you choose to replace it with? Maybe it's a 5-minute stretch, a quick walk outside, taking one deep breath. Decide on that replacement and start there. Start today.